Hello and welcome everyone.
So, for those who don't know me, I grew up in a seaside town.
You are leading the world. So, how has your childhood shaped you?
So, as I said, I fell into shipping. First job was at Spinnaker Consulting. If I didn't have that teacher pull me aside and say, redirect your energy, God knows where I'd be today.
Yeah, but it doesn't. I would just like to give a message along to Akansha. Hi, Akansha, if you're watching this. Work-life balance is a scam.
Yeah.
I have always heard that.
Yeah.
But I want to just rewind a bit and talk about your first job.
Yes, I like this.
Just want to see how interestingly you reply to these. Hello and welcome everyone to another very inspiring episode of Sailing Success with Akship. Today, our podcast is titled She Leads Shipping, and we truly couldn't have a better guest sitting over here. She is a person who is charming, ambitious, and full of growth. She is someone who is an advocate for women in shipping and commodities trade. Let's welcome Miss Zoe Upson. Hi, Miss Zoe. It's amazing and it's pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
I just wanted to start with how you grew up.
Yeah, of course. So, for those who don't know me, I grew up in a seaside town called Leigh-on-Sea in Essex, which is about an hour from London.
Okay.
Very normal upbringing. I was the youngest of 4 children, so had to fight for my place, if that makes sense. 2 older brothers, and they were tough on me, but in a loving way. Yeah. So I guess it made me build my confidence from a young age. I went to a very normal school. Just a very normal British seaside upbringing. My parents separated when I was very young.
Okay.
My mum ran a business for a number of years, but a bookend of that. So she started off in nursing, had her own business. Okay. Unfortunately, she lost it. And then she went back to nursing again. And my dad was quite entrepreneurial, but never really made it big. So he would always have these, a bit like Del Boy from Only Fools and Horses. If anyone's seen that at all, it's British comedy. But yeah, he always a bit entrepreneurial, always doing certain deals, but never really sort of made it. And I sort of watched both my parents have some success, but then actually fall through, but rebuild again, which I think has been something really key for my growth and my development and who I am today. I went to a school called St. Bernard's. Okay. It was an all-girls Catholic school. Mm-hmm. I was quite naughty there.
Okay.
First 3 years of school, my mum would get a lot of letters from them, and she would say, I could wallpaper the house with the letters from school. And I had a really amazing teacher who basically pulled me aside one day and said, listen, if you focus your energy in the right way, you could be a great leader. Yeah. Let's redirect this energy. Mm-hmm. And it actually amazingly worked. And I went on to be head girl of that school. So I managed to turn things around. But that was me. That was growing up. I went and did philosophy at university. Okay. And that was that before I fell into shipping.
Uh-huh. So I think shipping has been a part of you no matter what, where you have lived and now where you have come to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you had 4 siblings, like is it including you?
Yes.
Okay. So being the younger one, but today you are leading the world. So how has your childhood shaped you?
Yeah, for sure. So again, I think the few things that I mentioned already, being the youngest one of 4, particularly in the next, so it's the eldest was my sister Claire, and then there's David and Bruce, and they were boys, super into football, and they made me really, really thick-skinned, which is very interesting. So my first ever proper interview for shipping. So as I said, I fell into shipping. Mm-hmm. First job was at Spinnaker Consulting, who are still, doing great today. And so a candidate I placed there, he then recommended me to John Banaskovich, who the industry will know. And in my interview, he said to me, it's broken, you're going to have to be thick-skinned. And I said, well, I've got 2 older brothers. And he said, oh, okay. He was like, oh, she'll be all right, because it's really male-dominated. Yeah. And when you've got 2 older brothers that drag you in the garden, so you go in the goal for football, are a bit rough with you, their love language is this like winding you up. You know, they don't like to love you in this affectionate way. It's like winding you up, and that's their way of showing love. So I think that really shaped me. My parents were separated, so my mum had 4 children by herself.
Yep.
And her industry for her business was coaching, very male dominated.
Yeah.
So when I reflect and you ask me questions like that, I'm like, this kind of makes sense, right? I had a mum in a male dominated space, raising children by herself. I think that sort of has really impacted me. And the final thing I would say is my school.
Yeah.
If I didn't have that teacher pull me aside and say, redirect your energy, God knows where I'd be today. And I really mean that. It could have really gone the other way for me. But I luckily had someone who saw something in me and got me to shift those, I don't know what you call it, almost like, I was always the clown of the class, making jokes, pushing the boundaries with the teachers, getting in trouble for it. And then she was like, look, I see this in you, but why don't we flip and switch the narrative? And we did. And thank God we did, because I don't know where I'd be today.
Yeah. And that really makes sense, because as a child, when you grow up, you think that being a troublemaker is going to help you in the long
and it's
run.
not.
Yeah, but it doesn't. And you always want someone to pull your ears and say, no.
Yeah,
this
for
is
sure.
what you have to utilize your energy into. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have grown up with 2 brothers myself.
So
and
you know.
Yeah, I know how exactly it feels like. So, but it's amazing. I think they are the people, because of who we are, what we are now.
Absolutely.
And we stand up proud in the industry, in a
Amazing.
male-dominated industry, particularly, like you say.
Exactly.
So, it's often said that, Ms. Zoe, that women particularly are a reflection of their mother, right?
Yeah.
So, like you mentioned, you have learned a lot from her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you tell us all one thing that you take from her that you'll carry for your whole life?
Oh, it's just her resilience. No matter what's been thrown at her, she literally will just go, okay. And I don't know how she doesn't get anxiety. I do. And for any girls who are watching this, I get imposter syndrome. I get anxiety. I freak out about everything. Yep. I just deal with it. My mum is cool as oh my God, I wish I could. I mean, I still haven't developed that. Yeah. I'm better as I've got older, but I panic with stuff. Oh, someone said this, or maybe I can't go for it because I'm not good enough. But we have that. My mum is just one of the most resilient and does it in the calmest way. I watch her lose everything. Like a beautiful big 4 double bedroom, 4 bathroom house, a successful business. So literally she went back to nursing, was in a 2 bedroom flat. So she was sleeping on the floor in the living room, and she got up and she got on with it. And I think that's, the male dominated space, again, the resilience, right? She did it by herself, raising 4 children. I mean, I've got one really well behaved daughter, and her dad helps me out, and I haven't had it tough with him, if that makes sense. And my mum didn't have it easy, and yet again it's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, she did this with 4.
Yeah.
I have 1, and I'm still sometimes like, I need a break. You know what I mean? So so she's been a real role model for me.
Okay. That's great to hear that. And I'm sure she's proud to see what you're doing now, the great things that you have been doing.
Yeah.
And I hope that your daughter is going to watch this episode and going to take so many good things from you.
Yeah.
And carry forward the legacy,
Oh, I hope so. She's more of an artist than me, but yeah.
Now, since we are talking about daughters,
yes.
So give her one message that you want her to learn from your journey, your mother's journey.
Okay, do what makes you happy. Find your passion. Mama will support you all the way. And just remember, if you can dream it and you can think it up, you can do it. Fear is an ocean wide and it's puddle deep. So you just have to step forward and go for it and believe in yourself. But you can literally be anything you want to be, and in the most amazing industry or passion that you desire.
That's a very beautiful message.
Thank
I
you.
think a lot of us, younger or older, we need to hear this often, that yes, follow what you want to do, and then you will be there. You will have it, whatever you want. It's just that one step of, it's that courage we need to take that step, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
And that's something I find with women is the biggest, I don't want to call it a flaw because it's not a flaw, but like the biggest thing I like to change or to instill in other women is confidence. When there are jobs, applications, women will, oh, I don't have that. Oh, I've only done that a year and they're asking for 2 years. And men are like, I got 25% of that. I'm going to go for it. Yeah. It's this confidence. And maybe because we're raised differently, right? Yeah. Be careful. Don't hurt yourself. And the boys are leaping off things. And they're kind of, the energy's a bit fearless. And the parents aren't as worried with them. And then you see like a father with a daughter. Oh, my princess, please don't. Yeah. And I think that actually subconsciously really sticks in us. So confidence for women. I'm like, please just do that LinkedIn post. Please just apply for that job. You know, I spoke to a girl the other day at awards and she was like, oh, wow, you girls, you know, you're 1 and 2 of women in shipping. Oh, and I said, where are you on the list? And she went, oh, I've not applied yet. I said, why not? She went, I've still got some more stuff I want to do first. And I'm like, apply for it, please. Put yourself forward and get nominated, right? Because you just got to go for it. And again, with women, it's a confidence thing. I think is like one of the key things. Imposter syndrome and confidence is something that I really think we need to...
I think all of us are too shy in the beginning, but then I think it inspires us seeing women like you come forward and lead the way for all of us. So I'm sure with the changing trends, with so many social media movements coming in the industry, people now know, you know, that these are the things we need to do. We need to take step forward towards.
Yeah, so, absolutely. And I think, you know, some people just have that slightly limiting aspect where they work for someone and they've got to be careful about what they're saying in a public space. But for women who either have a company like yourself, like, oh, go loving this podcast, like getting you out there and letting you speak, it's amazing, right? That they're doing all the right things, but some companies are a bit like, you be careful what you say. Yeah. But if you are a woman in a space with a position of power or you are allowed to freely use your voice, please do. I can't even tell you like how much I needed this when I was coming through the industry, or just someone I could just pick up the phone to and ask a question, which the younger girls now have. Like, look at Sandra from Maritime. I rave about her all the time and like, how much she helped me out. But this was like later on. I've been in shipping like, you know, 11 years already. Yeah. I wish I had someone like that at the beginning, someone who was just been there before. Yeah. And I have girls contacting me all the time. Right, and then we're also trying to instill confidence in them. Yeah. So when they come to our events, actually, it doesn't matter what age they are. We have Karen Martin. She's fabulous. She comes to all the shipping events, and we have a photographer. And I always encourage women, go and get your headshots. We've got a professional photographer. Go and get your headshots. Use it for your LinkedIn. Use it for your branding. Like, use this for yourself. Like, this is your time. We're facilitating. There's no cost for you. You know, Karen's, I don't want to disclose her age, but she's one of the more senior ladies in the industry, still super young and vibrant, of course. And she was like, oh, I'm not sure, maybe not. Her pictures were absolutely amazing. She looks like she walked out of a fashion magazine. And then we have Amelia. She's an engineer in shipping, and she's one of our faces for Women Together. Yeah. And she is super confident. And we said to her, look, come and do some videos. And just putting the confidence in her, she's running with this now. She's putting herself for awards. She's using the content that we've given her to push it out on LinkedIn. And she'll also come to me sometimes and say, Zoe, can you share my post or can you comment? Of course I can. Yeah. Like I will back women all day long. I don't want any money for it. I don't want any thanks for it. I don't need some plaque or some billboard or whatever. Like, I just want to see women happy, A, confident, B, and thriving and loving what they do. Because you and I both know, how fun is this today? Yeah. We've met downstairs, we've had a coffee, we've chatted about life, and now we're recording. This is work, right? And it's amazing. Like, how lucky are we?
True. And I would really, like to convey this to a lot of people watching this, that Zoe has been amazing. Since the time I approached her, there was not even a single time where she hesitated to say yes. So I'm so thankful to you, and
Of
we want more
course.
people like you. Like I told you, even same was Akansha. She is
Oh
amazing,
my
and we
God, I
had her
love
on her show.
her.
Yeah, last podcast was with her.
Yeah.
And when I come across women like you, it is empowering. Seriously.
Yeah.
So I would just like to give a message along to Akansha. Hi, Akansha, if you're watching this,
Hi.
thank you so much for connecting me to Zoe, and it's lovely having you here today.
Oh yeah, and I just have to say, Akansha, I adore you. Every time I see you, you're the most fabulous florals or prints, and you look so vibrant and cool at industry
True.
events. I love that. Like, why are we always so stuffy? And I'm guilty of it, corporate, right? And she's just the most genuinely sweet, caring person.
Yeah.
Like, Akansha, you're amazing. She set this up, and I'm so grateful. She's a mother.
Yeah.
She does so much in the industry. She's a number one, position, women in shipping. She does so much. And then she's like, oh, Zoe, I have a gift for you. I said, a gift? She said, oh, yeah, I've got a fashion thing as well. I said, what? You have time? Like, she blows me away.
Yeah.
And again, another amazing role model. And I'm really glad you mentioned her today because I wish, other women looking at this, if she's at events, she's always at events, go and speak to her. I could call her. And I've met her maybe 3 times. I could call her 2:00 in the morning and say, I have a problem, can you help me? And she would help me. That's the sort of woman that she is. She's a real woman's woman.
Yeah.
She's amazing. She keeps herself with her family. I think that's a really wholesome thing. I've met her daughter, I've met her brother. So she's an absolute star. So I'm glad you mentioned her.
Yes, absolutely. This episode would be incomplete without mentioning her.
Absolutely, it would.
So you have come so far, yeah?
Yeah.
But I want to just rewind a bit and talk about your first job. Like,
Oh,
how
wow.
were you as a person or as an employee in your very first job?
Okay, so I will tell you, I would say the real starting point was at FIS, Freight Derivatives Broking, right? I know hardly anything about shipping. I don't know what a bid or an offer is. I walk in and it's this big shouting floor. I spot John Banaskovich and I'm like, are you John? I go for this interview. I'm not joking. It was wild, right? I had John Hamming, who I think is now actually at ICAP, and John Banaskovich in this room. What do you know about shipping? This is genuinely the interview. I don't know that much. I'm here to learn. All right, great. It's really tough on the floor. It's male dominated. Yeah. How are you going to cope? You need to be thick skinned. I said, I got 2 older brothers. Then he asked me quite a rude question, which was, what are you going to do when they tell you to be off? Okay. And I went, tell them that back. I won't say it for the podcast, a bit rude. But anyway, he went, great. How much money do you want? It was done that quick like that. Uh-huh. And then I got told, you have 3 weeks to learn this and do a trade or you're gone. And bear in mind, I knew nothing. So when I mean I was thrown in the deep end, I was thrown in the deep end. But luckily, I was on the dry FFA FIS team and the boys there were like brothers to me. Again, this banter, love, but they protected me, they guided me, and they got me sharp quick. Yeah. But they put their arm around me and they helped me and I actually have so much gratitude. I mean, they're my friends today. But yeah, that was very intense. I was the only woman. Mm-hmm. It was lots of shouting, long hours, and the culture was very because it's derivatives, you can't just, a lot of physical shipbreaking, you can go for long lunches with your clients and you can take breaks in the day and you're not glued to your desk. In derivatives, you're there from the morning to the evening. And as a junior broker, if your client is in town, you best be going to see them. So sometimes I would start, I wouldn't take a lunch break. I would eat, but I'd eat at my desk. I would run to the toilet because I didn't want to miss a trade, right? And I really instilled such a strong work ethic. I went to work no matter what. The only times I didn't go to work was when I had booked annual leave or I was in hospital. Never off. Even if I was unwell, I went into work. And that was maybe a toxic, people would say that's toxic now. But I'm grateful to it because I have a solid work ethic. But yeah, it was tough. It was intense. but also beautiful and fun. And, you know, I had the time of my life and I experienced things and it transformed my life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what, Zoe? I have come across so many people with judgments like, what is this industry? 24/7, you're just running.
Yeah.
But I think whenever you talk to successful people, you know, who have achieved something, they will always say work-life balance is a scam.
Yeah.
I have always heard that.
Yeah.
And knowing your story, I know you are someone who hates taking breaks, but yeah, that's what it takes to be here where you are. So,
Yeah. I mean, look, I do preach a bit about mental health because I think there's a point where we have to sort of put in the blocks. And I have a life coach and he's taught me a lot about that. So when I feel I'm getting to a bit burnouty,
Yeah.
I literally will take a full day off. I don't even leave the house. I'll be pajamas or do something for myself, or if I go for a massage or whatever. So, and I'm really good with my boundaries at the weekend.
Yeah.
So I make sure I have quality time with my daughter and I really recharge my batteries. But yeah, I have an addiction to what I do. It doesn't feel like work. So I think yesterday I sat at my desk for 13 hours.
My God.
And I'm not uncomfortable there.
Yeah.
You know, there are stressful moments at times, but generally I'm quite happy sitting on
Yeah.
doing what I'm doing. It doesn't really feel like work to me. But luckily I have a daughter that's a bit of a handbrake.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, the boundary at the weekend, I am quite firm now. But yeah, I think if you love what you do, it's quite hard to say this
Yes.
work-life balance. But yeah, I do think people need to recognise if their mental health is suffering.
Yeah.
But I think when you're at the right company, you're in the right place, you're doing what you love, I think, you know, yeah, I think it does go a bit out the window.
True. So, like, since we are talking about women together,
Yes.
I just want to ask you, like, how did you start this, this beautiful community of women all together? What was the starting point? What inspired you to do this?
Yeah, for sure. So Women Together was born not because I wanted to create it, it just was organic.
Okay.
So when I took some time from the industry to have Beatrice and get married and all of that. And then I was living in New York and then I moved back to London. And the minute I landed in London, John B said, "Hey, I heard you're back. Come set up another desk for me." So I said, okay. And that was great. And we were sort of pushing our way and trying to build some market share. And I had a really good idea. I said, "John, I think we need an all-female desk. It's never been done before. Nobody's done it. It doesn't exist. You know, we're trying to build market share in a market that's long established. What do you think?" And he said, "That's a great idea, do it." So it wasn't like I had any boundary or pushback, right? John always was really supportive of any entrepreneurial flair I had or ideas. Great. I couldn't get anyone. And when I mean, I work in talent now, right? When I mean I tried to get women, it was like, I had so many girls, come into broking, come into shipping, you'll love it. They're like, "Oh God, that sounds like hard work." I was like, what? And then I'm just reaching out to maybe some brokers who are in another sector who I could maybe bring across. And that wasn't really the right fit. And then Cav, who was the trader at Coke, he had two friends that worked at shipping who thought I'd gotten really well with and maybe they would work. So we met for drinks at a bar called The Folly in London. And they told me their packages at Shell. And I was like, oh, girls, like, don't give that up for me. Like, but you two, he was right. They were brilliant.
Yeah.
Deepa and Shrita, they were both at Shell. And we loved it so much, just nattering about being in a male-dominated space, selling stories. And also remember, until that point, anytime I had a client in town, we went to like a pub or a restaurant and I was with men. And the vibe is different. And then suddenly I'm with girls and we'd like drinking Prosecco and it's like, oh, we loved it, right? So then we all said, let's do this again, but we're all going to bring another girl.
Yep.
So the next time we went for dinner in Mayfair and then we added on another girl. Okay, so I think then there was 6, then there was 12. Then we did a breakfast for International Petroleum Week, IP Week, which is now International Energy Week in London. Again, it was every time we did something, the girl said, "I love this, please do another one." So I did another one and then another one. Lockdown happened. straight out of lockdown. I was like, right, I'm going to do a sponsored event so I can make them bigger for the girls, right? And we've got a bit of funding. And we managed to get like some really great sponsors the first one, which was the Baltic Exchange. So Janet instantly supported that. Amazing. And it's just grown from that. It didn't have a website originally. Then Reuters called me and said, oh, we might want to partner for an event. I'm like, oh my God, I don't even... This isn't a thing. It just was born, right? So I had to give it a name, had to put a website on it and build it. And since then, we've had the most amazing events all over the world. We've partnered with Female X Finance. We've partnered with Tradewinds. We've had really great press coverage. We have I think we've got 1,700 members now on our private group on LinkedIn. We're now doing mini micro events, which are smaller little events outside of the big sponsored events. And we're about to take it to the next level. So it's going to grow, I would say 4-5-fold, I think, in the next couple of years. And it is just the most amazing women. It's very informal. It's girly girl time. Yes, of course, we have male sponsors. They're amazing. And men do come to our events. But we do keep it quite female numbers, and we always do it in a really nice setting, whether that's on a roof terrace or a beachfront or on the palm or on a rooftop by a pool, because when women are in a safe place, as I like to call it, they walk in, they get a big hug from me. First of all, their shoulders come down. Okay, this is relaxed. Yeah. Then they start meeting the other girls and they're all brilliant. No one's really in a suit and it's so relaxed. And then they're making connections and they're networking. And then now the amazing thing is we have a smaller WhatsApp group, which, if anyone wants to join it, please contact me on LinkedIn and we can add you to it. I've recently added you to it. Yes. And for instance, if someone was at, Geneva Dry or Maritime, Sea Trade Maritime that they were in last week, they just drop into the group. I'm going to this conference. Is anyone going? 9 times out of 10, there's another woman in the group who's also going to the event, and they've got a buddy. They've got a sister in town. They can go for a wine, and that's something we've really started doing. Is we host our big events at the start of the industry week, where there's lots of parties and events. So then all week the girls have they walk into another party or another event of the week, and they see someone they know. Yeah. And that gives girls a lot of confidence. True. It makes them feel good, and we've had a really huge success rate with that. That's Women Together. I love it. It's my baby.
I think you're doing great with that group, because I have been recently added to the group.
Yes.
But it feels like it's my college group, getting people talking random messages or where to meet, what to do for the event. So it's amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think we need more people join this community so that they feel safe, empowered, and they can connect, because
everyone and anyone is welcome. We've got big wide arms, big smiley faces, and again, it's a safe community. There's no cattiness. There's no sneaky. We're not about that. And it doesn't matter if you are 2 weeks into shipping or commodities or trading, or maybe you're in finance but you live in Dubai, or it's women in male dominated spaces. We don't care if you're 2 weeks in or you are like a Kancha and you own your own businesses and you are number one woman in shipping in the world. We are all the same. We are just all equal. There's nobody better than me. Sometimes the girls try and get me to speak at the event. I'm like, please no, because it's not like we're all equal here. Like, we're all the same. We're all the leader of Women Together, and there's no difference in seniority. Like, it's really, really beautiful space.
Absolutely. Mentioning about that, you were awarded CEO of the year last year, right?
Yeah, for Entrepreneur of the Year. Yes. That was really amazing. So
how did it feel like, coming this long way?
It's. I was talking to you earlier over the coffees before we came into this podcast, and I was talking about building blocks. And it starts with 1 or 2 press releases, and then your LinkedIn following goes up, and these accreditations build up. And now I'm getting the awards coming in and the speaker invitations coming in, and that is like it's just a real thing. But it's really like when you're doing stuff by yourself, it's like the big clap that you don't get from a boss or a pay rise or a bonus, and it's it's that recognition that, you know, you don't do it because you need it. It's just a really gorgeous thing. And again, it's just, for me, when these things happen, I see them as building blocks, and I just see it as a building block to help the other girls in the industry. Like, you know, I'm stepping up here, but I'm going to pull you up with me. Yeah. And when I see the younger girls or newcomers coming in, I'm like, hey, let's get you up. And I'm trying to encourage them as well to I want them to overtake me, right? I've just seen it as, like you said earlier, I just want to pave the way and really push it, and then get the other girls going through, and oh my God, please overtake me, you know, like soon I'm going to be tired. But you know, for now, it's just that's what it means to me, is just like a building block for the girls, and just being a role model and saying, look, I did this. I'm some girl from Essex who fell into this industry. You know, I did okay in my exams, but I'm not some superstar. I wasn't born with big connections or funding. I've never had any funding from my parents ever, not a penny. So just show that, you know, if I can do it and I'm a normal girl, then you can, right? And it's just, I hope that shows you that it's possible, and that's what it's about for me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Really. Okay. So Zoe, let's do a quick rapid fire.
Yes, I like this.
Just want to see how interestingly you reply to these.
Okay, let's go.